Hey love, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 of my top tips and practices that you can start using today. If you have found yourself being a little self-critical, if you are finding yourself questioning, doubting yourself, criticizing yourself often, this is for you. My 4 top practices that you can really start using today. Alrighty love, number 1 way to start building your self-compassion and start being less self-critical is to start noticing your thoughts. We need to build our self-awareness first, because if you're not aware of how you're speaking to yourself, if you're not aware of the thoughts that you're allowing to run through your mind all day, we can't do anything about it, right? And so that's number 1, is starting to just notice, building that awareness. And a really incredible way of doing that is to practice being a mindful observer. This is not my own technique. This is something that I've learned, but being a mindful observer and really learning and setting times where you practice just observing your thoughts as if they are on a stream passing by. Just observing them. So number 1, building your self-awareness, noticing what are the words that I'm speaking to myself, about myself, what are the thoughts that I'm having, that I'm letting really run through my mind all day. Awareness, number 1. Number 2 would be to ask yourself, what are my values, is the first part of this. And then the second part of this practice would be, what are my values? And then what's a way that I can speak to myself in a way that is reflective of what's important to me? If you really value growth and progress and healing and, wholehearted living, if you're valuing these things and yet you're speaking to yourself in a way that's really harsh, really self-critical, those aren't aligned. Right? That self-talk is not reflective of your values. And overall, one of the greatest, goals that we have in life, and really what leads us to living fulfilled lives and all the things, creating a life that's really full of what we want, is living a life that reflects our values. So I want you to ask yourself, this is number 2, asking yourself, what are my values? And what would my self-talk sound like? Or what would I be feeling on a more regular basis if I am being kinder to myself, if I'm living in alignment with my values, right? So looking at your values, and you can write these out. What are my values? Write them out on one side. And then next to those, write out statements of things that you would say to yourself throughout the day that reflect those values. That's a great place to start. Great place to start. Number 3 is that you can remind yourself that you are in the business of progress and not perfection. Progress, not perfection. And this can look like creating affirmations around this statement. I do not expect perfection from myself. I do not expect perfection from other people. I'm striving for progress. I am focused on progress. I do not expect myself to be perfect. Create some affirmations or some statements for yourself. Write them on Post-its. Set alarms in your phone with that as the title. And be reminded of that throughout the day. Because again, your thought patterns, the way that you treat yourself, the way that you speak to yourself has been wired, and these habits have been really strengthened over the course of your entire life. So you're gonna need reminders. It's going to take time. So again, create affirmations or statements that really remind you that you are here for progress and that you do not expect perfection from yourself, and then remind yourself of that throughout the day. Number 4 and last one is just to remind yourself that you are human. You are going to doubt yourself. You're going to have moments where you criticize yourself because you are human. So reminding yourself that the goal is not that you never feel these things. The goal is not that you never doubt yourself, that you never criticize yourself. That is not the goal. That's unattainable and unrealistic. The goal is that you are kinder to yourself, that more often than not, you are kind to yourself, that more often than not, you are encouraging to yourself. The goal is that when you find yourself criticizing yourself, you can pull yourself out of that place quicker, that you can graciously and really easily move from a space of self-criticism or self-doubt to a space of self-compassion and self-acceptance. So just also Remind yourself, this is number 4, remind yourself that your goal is not that you never experience these things, but that you move out of them quicker, that you're able to identify them quicker, move through them quicker, let them go quicker, and really that you're easily able to move through these emotional experiences of the day. So, and why this is so important is because I think so many of us want to we don't really think about what our goal is. Like, what is my goal with growth? What is my goal with healing? And if we don't set a goal, we may be striving towards something that is unrealistic. We may be striving towards something that really isn't humanly possible, which would be the goal to never have these feelings or thoughts ever. And so we're reassessing, making sure that that's not the goal that we're striving towards, and making sure that we're reminding ourselves constantly that we're in the game of progress, not perfection. Okay, that's our journey. And then also that we're going to feel these things, and that it's okay, and that we can be kind to ourselves and move through these moments quicker and more compassionately.